Hi, what I wanted to do in this video is just preview one of the things we're going to see tomorrow, Tuesday, in class. And a lot of this you already know. We're just sort of pushing you to think a little bit more about a couple things. So for this first problem here, 83 times 100, you know that it's going to be 1 times 83, so that's 83, and then you just add 1, 2 zeros. There are no decimals in my answer, so my decimal is going to stay at the end of my number. Same thing here. 1 times 52 is 52. I add 1 0. No decimals. I keep the decimal at the end of my answer. Okay, here I'm going to do what we know what to do here. I'm going to say this is 81 times 1, right? Because when I'm multiplying decimals, I don't think about my decimals at first. I have 81 times 1. I add a 0, and then I have one number behind the decimal. So I need to have one number behind the decimal. So my answer is 81. Let's take a look at this last one here. I am now saying that I have 9675, so 9,675 times 1,000, or times 1, sorry. So I get my 9675. Then I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3 zeros. And then I have these 2 numbers behind the decimal. So I have 2 numbers behind the decimal. Okay, so that takes us to this slide, and we'll just see a couple more that are pretty similar. So I treat, again, this is 37 times 1. I add the 0. And then I have one number behind the decimal, so I have one number behind the decimal. Here is just 37 times 1, 37. Then I have one number behind the decimal. I have one number behind the decimal. So this is where it's going to get a little bit interesting. I want you to notice this. I'm multiplying 3 and 7/10 times something less than 1, so I know my answer is going to get smaller. But let's just go through and do it. How do we know? So 37 times 1 is 37. This time I have 2 numbers behind the decimal. So I have 2 numbers behind the decimal. And that should make sense that the 3 and 7/10 became 3/700. It became smaller because we multiplied it by this number that was less than 1. Okay, so here 141 times 1. I have 2 numbers behind the decimal. So I have 1 and 41/100. Again, you can see something similar is going to happen here. I'm multiplying by something less than 1. 5629 times 1 is 5629. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers behind the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers behind the decimal. Okay, so this is where we're going to just recap everything that you've seen in the last 2 slides. And if any of these things don't make sense, go back and watch them and try some of the problems again on your own. I think the best way to understand this is to watch, think, and practice. So go back and do any of the ones you saw in the video. But what I'm going to ask you to do now is do these 4 problems right now, and then hit pause. Hit pause, do these 4 problems, and then I'll explain all of their answers in a minute. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do the same thing I've done on all the other ones. So here I have 8723 times 1. So I know it's 8723. Now I'm going to count up the number of digits behind my decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's that there. Here I'm going to have 5 times 1, so that's just plain old 5, which is awesome. And then again, I counted the number of digits behind my decimal. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I have these 2 empty spaces here. I'm going to have to add 2 zeros. Next one. 3847 times 1. 3847. Then I have 2 numbers behind the decimal. 1, 2 numbers behind the decimal. Okay, and then I have 124 times 1, so 124. I have 2 zeros, so 1, 2. And then I have one number behind the decimal. There you go. So it's 1,240. Sorry for that squiggly decimal. But again, you have any questions, go back and rewatch. But just think about it. It's all the things that you know how to do. You just multiply the numbers without them being decimals, add the zeros, count up the number of numbers behind the decimal point, and then put that back in. Okay, see you in class tomorrow.